What's up, people? This is Monday night. This is the Black Raspberry Radio Show, 905.net, S.STREET Media. Thanks for the production, my boy Math. We here. You have just heard Curtis Mayfield, 1972, 1973, off the Superfly soundtrack. All praise be due to the black man known as Curtis Mayfield, one of our greatest artists of all times. A musical genius. Tonight, I have my brother here with me tonight, my childhood friend that I grew up with, been knowing him for a very long time. He used to wear a trench coat with a shotgun. 1991. Hot as hell out in the streets of Brownsville with a shotgun with a trench coat on. And it's just amazed that the cops didn't ever stop his ass.
I stood next to the cops. I've stood next to the cops with this shotgun on a 90-degree day and a black leather trench coat, and you know.
And you know what was crazy at that time? When I was like, "Yo, Batman, are you cold?" Your ass was cold at that time.
Nah, people would ask, "Ain't you hot? Ain't you hot with that coat on?" But nah, I was suffering from something at the time where, you know what I'm saying, even when it was hot, my skin, I would be freezing cold.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you witnessed it.
Right. So so it's like you a DC Marvel kind of guy. You're Batman, but you was freezing cold.
I was probably Batman and his arch villain, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. But how you doing tonight, my brother? I'm glad that you're here, you know, on the Black Raspberry Show, you know. And I was telling my brother that we was just, you know, we going to have like our usual conversation, because we always go through like the 1970s and 1980s music and things like that. And, you know, we was talking about like I said when I opened up the show that like how Curtis Mayfield was one of our greatest songwriters, one of our greatest song producers. And this show tonight, you know, after we finish talking our politics and our music and things like that, we're going to go into a couple of other soundtracks. Curtis Mayfield with the Claudine soundtrack, and also James Brown with the Black Caesar soundtrack. You know,
good.
And a couple of shows ago, I had said that if you seen the James Brown movie, you seen the part when he's walking out the studio, and he was like, "Yo, get on the phone and call that boy Bootsy." This is when Bootsy Collins first came in, you know, popping those strings and that bass guitar, and they said that he introduced Bootsy Collins at the Apollo Theater, doing The Boss. Who were some of your greatest artists? I mean, even though that we were children, we was kids at that time of the 1970s. I was just born 1973. You born 1970, 71. Like, what were some of your favorite artists, you know, in that time of the 1970s?
I remember being in kindergarten, and my favorite song at the time was Flashlight.
Oh, wow.
By Parliament.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just was crazy about that song at the time. I'm still crazy about
Right.
it. You know what I'm saying? So it's.
You know what, B? You know, I always mention that how the New York rapper, the New York artist, always went with the James Brown sample, and the California cats went with the Parliament.
Yeah.
Zap. You know, the Parliament of Funkadelic and the Zap sound. What sound do you, I mean, without us jumping into the 80s with the rap, like, what would have been your sound? More of a James Brown or more of a Parliament?
Definitely more James Brown, because I came up, you know what I'm saying, seeking those James Brown beats, because that's what was being used.
Right.
By the time we got into the 80s, most hip-hop songs were, you know, using a James Brown beat. So I just, you know, wanted to find as much James Brown music as I possibly could.
Right.
And, you know, I still have a lot of that stuff. As I told you, I was a collector of many things.
Right. And you know what's crazy? Before we came on live, we was talking about, I want to jump into the comic book thing right quick. We was talking about how the illustration of Luke Cage, it damn sure looks like the Hammer. Fred Williamson,
yeah. They like when Marvel Comics wanted to get into the blaxploitation thing, as you know, the films were already going on and everything with you know, Pam Grier and
right, sexy ass,
sexy
bitch, whoa, sexy lady,
the marvelous
sexy lady,
right? You got to beat that out,
right?
But you know what I'm saying? I guess they just took Fred Williamson, who was already a football player at one
Right,
time.
that's right. Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, so he started doing some of these blaxploitation movies. The most notable of them was Black Caesar, and they created a character called Luke Cage.
Right.
And the look of the character was pretty much based on
Right.
Fred Williamson.
Right.
You know,
Coming up, all right, like if we leave out of the 1970s, because I always like to stay in the time frame of the 1970s and the 1980s. Like, what was your best artist you can say, like jumping into like as far as rap, that you said that you liked the Flashlight? Like, what was your best art? Because a lot of artists sampled the Parliament. Like, who was your best artist that sampled the Parliament? Ice Cube,
who sampled Parliament?
EPMD.
I can't remember who actually sampled Parliament in hip hop.
I think what's the name? Ice Cube.
On what song?
My Summer Vacation, off the Death Certificate.
You'd have to play that one.
Okay. I'm gonna play that one for you. But I always love Flashlight, like you said, Flashlight, because I remember as a kid going into this spot called the King and Queen. Miss Miller used to always play that song on that jukebox. Like, I actually thought Flashlight was her song. Like, she made that song because that song just always
was playing.
Was always playing.
Always in rotation.
Always in rotation. And it's like I love those artists because they was such musicians.
Yeah.
You know, creating that. You know, just creating the song. As a matter of fact, a person that sampled the Parliament in Funkadelic, "Let Me Ride."
Okay.
By Dr. Dre on the Chronic. Do 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 do. Let me ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that one. But
that's Parliament.
Yeah.
That's not George Clinton.
I mean, aren't they the same people? You know what? There was actually two different bands. It was George Clinton and them, and it was Parliament and Funkadelic, but they all went on the same tours. Or
yeah, you kind of can get them easily confused.
Right. You right.
Yeah.
Wow. So George Clinton wasn't part of Parliament.
No, I don't think he was.
Wow.
I could be wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We'd have to look that up.
Right.
You know, matter of fact, we have smartphones.
That's right. You could look it up. But you know what was crazy about when Dr. Dre and Suge Knight was recording the Chronic? They wanted to go around a lot of sample clearance, and they said that they had called them in to actually come in and play the song over.
Okay.
That it wasn't actually sampled off the record. They called them in
to replay it,
to come in there and replay it. Let's jump over to James Brown. I remember when James Brown got mad that rappers were sampling his music.
Oh yeah.
And wasn't getting paid for it.
Yeah. He wanted to sue some of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is also when Big Daddy Kane says in what was the song?
Young, Gifted, and Black.
And Young, Gifted, and Black.
Right. He goes in on them artists.
Yeah. And he says if we didn't revive and bring back alive old beats that we appreciated, you wouldn't survive.
Right.
You'd be another memory to us. Ashes to
ashes and dust to dust.
So, you know what I'm saying? It's like you kind of pick up that he's talking about the man because this is what was going on at that time.
That's right.
You know, so yeah.
And that's a good one. I mean, before one of our friends died, Jason died, I remember us in the house. We were I was on the YouTube and I was going through it. And we smoking weed, we drinking some Hennessy, and we rewind the song 3 times, and I got that album. And it's like, damn, did I miss like all these words that Big Daddy Kane is saying about
James Brown?
Those artists from the 1970s getting mad, saying that rappers and the producers of the 1980s, y'all are not real artists. And like Big Daddy Kane said, if it wasn't for us, you know what I'm saying,
they would have faded away.
You would have faded away without us.
You had the disco era.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying, various other music, new R&B artists coming up in the early 80s.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah.
I'm gonna jump before I jump back to disco. It's just crazy how the corporation coming in with the publishing rights. I mean, as far if I'm a producer and I'm making these songs, I do want to get paid. But I think that when the corporations came in and marginalized, you know what I'm saying, monetary, that money, I don't even want to use the big word, money, it kind of just messed up, I think, the New York sound of rap now, that you can't really go to a sample because you're going to pay. That's why the artists now, the producers now, they're getting all the money because they're not sampling.
Right.
These kids today are actually doing, not like they're not taking little inserts, because I seen an interview with Roxanne Shante. Roxanne Shante said that she still gets paid because, you know, of people sampling her music, you know, sampling her voice a little bit. She still get, you know, she still gets some money. But for New York, I think that the New York sound died because there's no hip hop sampling.
Well, yeah, because that was the spirit of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Using the break beat.
Right.
You know, from when all the way back when Kool Herc, you know what I'm saying, who is like the father of hip hop.
Speak into the mic.
Okay? Who is the father of hip hop, basically, when he was doing them parties.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And would play the break beat. And you know what I'm saying? James Brown has like thousands.
Thousands. The JBs, I guess, right?
Well, yeah,
even still James Brown.
Even with the JBs, yeah,
right.
because he was writing, I believe, writing the music,
right?
You know what I'm saying, but couldn't play all the instruments by himself.
Right,
so,
right,
yeah,
right.
You get Fred Wesley in there,
right.
Maceo Parker,
right?
You know, this one and that one, and Booty,
right?
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
You know that name that you just mentioned. When I looked up The Boss, the Black Caesar soundtrack today, I seen that name.
Maceo?
The other one, Wesley.
Oh, Wesley. Oh.
I seen that name.
Yeah.
You know, as the composer and, you know, drummer and you know, all that, you know, all that.
These were some of his main boys, like, you know what I'm saying, that was with him in his band, the JBs.
Right.
I think they might have been with him in, what was it, the Fabulous Flames?
Okay.
Back in like maybe the
50s
and early 60s.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
that was always some good music, and
yeah.
I think that, like, during the black exploitation time, I think that the soundtracks done by James Brown and done by Curtis Mayfield, and even my brother Marvin Gaye, him doing the Trouble Man soundtrack. I guess, you know, the next week we'll visit Marvin Gaye. It's I
love that Trouble Man
soundtrack.
Yeah. And
it's like, I think that the music helped those movies. Even Shaft.
Yeah.
Even Shaft with Isaac Hayes doing the Shaft song.
Yeah.
That beat, because that song actually won an Emmy.
Okay.
It won not an Emmy, it won a Grammy at the time when it came out.
Yeah.
And they said that that's when he became Black Moses, and he came up out of the floor at the Grammys and he did that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you got a black man coming up out of the stage, like he separated the damn water in the sea. So I
would have ran.
Yeah. Why?
If I was a white man and
yeah.
seen this.
Like this Negro coming out this stage.
I would have ran.
Yeah. But you know, it's good that they laid down that music to help the movie.
Yeah.
And some of the songs and some of the beats played a part of the visual of the what's name. Like, when you see, what's that guy named Richard Roundtree?
Yo.
We babies at this time when this movie came out. I don't think I was born yet. I think I was still in my mother's belly when Shaft came out. And when he's walking through Times Square and they're playing the Shaft song, like, that just meant something. The black man with the afro with the leather jacket, looking Black Pantherish.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to jump to that. We was talking about that too, people, about Black Panther, and I had asked you. I said, "Yo, B, did Black Panther, the comic book, did it come out before the revolution of the Black Panthers out there in Oakland?" And it's a little history behind the patch that you was saying.
Yeah,
so can you talk about that?
The creators of the comic book Black Panther, the Marvel character, the Black Panther, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, and people have asked, did they create that character based on the Black Panther movement of the time, which is 1966 or whatever? So also at the time, and before that time, in World War II was a group of black people
Right.
that were black men that were in World War II, known as the Black Panthers.
Right.
And you know, they had the little patch that they had with the Black Panther that, you know, jumping towards them or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think Stan Lee and Jack Kirby said that it had nothing to do with the movement. That,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It actually comes from World War II.
Oh wow.
You know?
So I guess these Negroes was getting some combat work going on in there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, they wasn't just quartermasters, just bringing master his bullets.
Well, you know how they always put the black man in the front line.
Yeah, they do.
You
They
know?
did. You know, I mean, you know, after
Yeah, you got to think about it.
a while.
Yeah.
I want to talk politics right quick.
Okay.
How do you think the country is moving with the red orange guy? It's like the only love that I have for this guy, I keep going back, is Mike Tyson. But I think I'm about to pull my Trump card back. Damn, the Trump card. Right? Give me back my damn Trump card, Trump. Mike Tyson was your Trump card. So I mean, like, how you feel about the politics? You know, that's shaking the world with this guy here, because he's a cowboy.
Well, I seen today on the news that he's finally gonna turn in his taxes.
Oh wow!
After all this time,
Right.
I think he knows he's in deep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, I don't want nobody looking at my damn taxes and how I file my exempts.
yeah. Especially if you've been doing some corrupt, you know, what I'm saying?
Sugar honey iced tea. For so long.
Yeah, so you're the president of the damn United States, and,
right? You gotta show your taxes, bro.
Yeah, what's the hold up here?
Like, what's the hold up?
Like, you should have just been through that out there.
Right.
No.
Right. You want to hold it. That is true.
You look guilty of something.
You look guilty of something.
Yeah.
But you know what was crazy? If Trump was actually guilty of something, that means that the IRS is supposed to have picked up on it way before this man runs for president, or as that's just how the way capitalism go, that you could lose $1 billion, but you could get back $500 million on your taxes some kind of way.
Yeah. You know, that's the workings of the government.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We don't even understand a lot of the workings of you know what I'm saying, how they do things. You know, I don't even understand the IRS. I've heard that you know, they're not even federally funded.
Right.
Company institution or whatever.
Right.
So what's up with that?
Right.
You know, but yet every year we got to run out and pay these
and
damn
file
taxes.
And if you don't, you're getting locked up.
You're right. If you're in trouble with the IRS,
Right. That's right. You see that commercial?
if you owe $10,000 or more,
that's right. I mean, DMX just came home off taxes, and Fat Joe, Laura Hill. I mean, even Ron Isley even went to jail for income tax fraud.
Wesley Snipes, right?
Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because when Wesley Snipes was shooting Brooklyn's Finest over there on the other side of Rockaway, they said that people were screaming at Wesley Snipes was like, "Yo, Nino, you need to pay your taxes." And they said Wesley Snipes said, "I ain't never coming back here again." I ain't never coming back here to Brownsville to shoot another movie ever in my life.
They wouldn't have said that in his face. Though,
yeah,
you know,
from because he'd break you down.
It's martial arts.
Yeah,
master.
he's a martial arts master.
Yeah,
so that's
you don't want none of that.
You don't want none of that. You know what I noticed? I noticed that the RZA did not use a James Brown sample. I haven't heard. You know, if he did it, he hit it. I just never heard none of the Wu-Tang. Truthfully, the Clan. I never heard of a James Brown sample in the Clan.
Well, I don't think I have either. You know what I'm saying? But you know, RZA was a creative, you know, mastermind,
right?
Making those beats and stuff like that, to where he didn't need to sample like
that.
This.
Right.
So you know. He wanted, I guess maybe RZA wanted to. Big shout out to the RZA,
That's
the Wu-Tang
right.
Clan.
Right.
You know
Wu-Tang Wednesday, because I scream at my kids to turn on the Hulu.
Wu-Tang forever, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that was just him. He didn't want to go that route.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he had, you know, the talent enough to make beats on
That's
his
right.
own.
That's right.
That he wanted to utilize.
Right.
And the tracks that he was doing for his clanmates.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what he did. He sampled there. Many times, other songs and things like that.
That's right. That's right.
You're right. I don't think I can't recall him using a James Brown.
Right. Puff Daddy, I know you did.
Ah!
I know you did, because you did Can't You See? By what's it? Do, do, do.
Yeah.
Do, do, do.
Yeah. Can't You See by Total,
Yeah,
right?
with Totem. Give me all the chicken heads from Pasadena to Medina. Yeah. Puff Daddy utilized his sample too. Dr. Dre, you too. You utilize your sample too. You know what was one of my favorite samples that he did was Express Yourself. I can't think of the artist that actually did that, but Express Yourself. That the original. All you got to do now is express yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. That's I can't remember who exactly sampled that either. I don't think it was Archie Bell and the Drells, but
Right.
you know, it's somewhere up around there.
You know, before we cut out of here, you know, because we got 30 minutes of that flavor from the 1970s. Because if you're 45 and older, your mama was and your daddy was creating you during these times when these songs was played. But right quick, I'm gonna touch on this in closing. Diane Carroll just passed away, and she was the lady that played Claudine. And somebody on Facebook had hit me up and tried to lecture me about, oh, Diane Carroll could care less about what you saying and what you thinking. I wasn't even talking about Diane Carroll. I just was talking about the image. I mean, America's image. I mean, Sprite is an image. McDonald's is an image. You see the Golden Arches, you want a damn hamburger. But it's just the image of the humanity. I said giving a single black woman in America humanity, that she's a human being. She had kids from 9 different fathers or 7 different fathers or 6 different fathers, but she showed some humanity. And regardless of how many different daddies it is, dear mama is gonna be dear mama regardless.
Yeah.
You know. So on that note, in closing, what would you like to say, B? We got 3 more minutes.
Well, you know, I'm just happy to be here. The first time I'm, ever stepping up here to this radio station, and
Yes.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah. I'm happy that you came, brother. I'm really happy that you came.
Power to the people. How about that?
Power to the people. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
You know what? I got 2 more minutes. I'm gonna talk about right quick Farrakhan talking about the nation dealing with Malcolm like a traitor to his nation. And I had run across a lot of interviews on YouTube where you got old school Fruit of Islam, you got old school NOIs, and you got old school 5%ers, and they said that it was Malcolm giving the word that if anybody speaks out against our spiritual father, the man that has made us stop being pimps, drug dealers, armed robbers, and this, and that, they are to be dealt with.
Right.
And Brother Malcolm died on his own word. Even though you don't heard a lot of people say, but the nation killed him, the nation that killed him. Maybe Malcolm was the one that should have gotten a pardon, because they said that Clarence the 13th X said that. They said that if anybody that should have got a pardon from it, it should have been Brother Malcolm for all that he's done for the NOI, all the members that he brought in, and all the mosques that he brought to the nation, that you should have gave him a pardon. But brother, man. And also, before I go, 1 more minute, there's a new movie that's on right now on ePix or whatever what that station is. It's Bumpy Johnson.
Okay.
And this is when Bumpy Johnson come out of jail, and he's in that setting of the 1960s, and they show how Bumpy Johnson was going to give Malcolm some guns to hold himself down, because you had a crew that left out of the Nation of Islam with Malcolm.
Right.
Malcolm didn't just leave the nation by himself. He left with a crew. And, you know, unfortunately, Brother Malcolm left us, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Sadness.
FBI tried to flip him and tried to get him to speak out against, you know, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he still held his own, like, you know, I'm not going to do all that. I ain't going to go that far, you know.
These were all great people of that era, the 60s. So,
okay,
you know, it's just, you know, sadness that they couldn't see eye to eye
right.
after a while, even though they all kind of started out together and everything, but they couldn't see eye to eye. You know, Malcolm not getting along with Elijah any longer.
Right.
You know, all right, you already got ousted from the nation. You know, there's no need, truthfully, to speak any further. out against that nation. You know what I'm saying? Just continue doing whatever it is that you're doing.
Right.
Elijah, you know what I'm saying, and Farrakhan or whoever, you know what I'm saying, there's no need to want to put a bullet in this man. You know what I'm saying? You're a strong nation and you know it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He can't stop your flow.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He can't stop your flow, but likewise, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't stop his.
Right. You know what? But, you know I said that we had a minute. We got 2 minutes left. And it's something about the image of Farad Muhammad.
Yeah.
And as white as this man look, with his fine, pretty, wavy hair combed to the side. And I just think, you know how sometimes you got to cover things up a bit. You know, they said that, you know, Farad, that is Allah. He came as, you know, the being to the wilderness of North America as Allah.
I read somewhere that he came from Saudi Arabia.
I have read other things myself. You know, his mama was black and his father was white. But at least he gave the spiritual enlightenment, regardless of the color of his skin. And I don't want to go at it like that, because if I had a picture of Farad Muhammad in my brain, he would have looked like Marcus Garvey. If I'm gonna think of, if I'm so black nationalist, I'm gonna have him looking really black. Marcus Garvey would have been the one that would have been the image of who Farad Muhammad is, because I seen something on YouTube and they said that before Clarence the 13th X had left the nation, they said that somebody showed him a picture. And before they went to cut on the YouTube, it's like as if Clarence the 13th X was pissed, like, wait a minute. You're telling me this who you say is Allah is? And it's like, I mean, I give you props. My skin is gold. My hair is good. I don't need no perm. But who's the slick-haired man in this picture? Sure. And I think that Farad Muhammad should look like Jim Kelly to me.
Well, I'm sorry. I find that every man named Muhammad, I kind of think they look like Muhammad Ali. Right. So, to me, that was the greatest Muhammad.
You know, they said that before Farrakhan took over, they had wanted Muhammad Ali to take over the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, that's, you know.
And I think Muhammad Ali probably could have moved the nation into, you know.
It's a strong possibility, but, you know, I don't guess he could do that and,
right.
And, you know, saying, get in that boxing ring.
Right, that too, you're right.
You know.
You're right. But, you know, it's crazy about that. Let me jump to Ali. They said that the mob pressed him. This is when he still was Cassius Clay. They said that he went to the black Muslims. He went up to Elijah Muhammad like, yo, they're going to break my legs if I don't throw this fight. And I guess it probably was that fight against Sonny Liston.
Okay.
And it was like, yo, they're going to break my legs, man. And they said that Elijah Muhammad gave him the name. Your name is now Muhammad Ali.
Right.
They ain't going to do nothing to you, brother. And the nation, you know, put a stoppage to that. The one thing I could say during the crack cocaine era in the 1980s, that when the bow ties came out on that block, I ain't never seen nobody shoot at the bow ties.
Nope.
I have not bear witness that.
No.
Yo, we wearing them bow ties off the block. You's a liar.
Nope.
Every block that I have seen, and even the other, whether you was a Sunni or you was a Shiite black Muslim at the time, I can honestly say when the Muslims came on the block and they said that you cannot pump here anymore, I remember when they was robbing people on Belmont, when people was getting robbed on Belmont and the Muslims came out there.
Yep.
It wasn't no more robberies going on out there on Belmont.
Nope.
When they left, maybe the robberies continued. But when they got on the block, they didn't, it wasn't, you know.
Yeah, it was a strong force to deal with.
It just was a strong force to deal with. Yeah. And, you know, on that note, I'm going to say peace, love, and soul. Rest in peace, Don Cornelius for Soul Train.
Rest in peace, Diane Carroll.
And rest in peace, Diane Carroll, and all the other S.STREET Media. I thank you for bringing us here tonight. 905, you all listen to 905 FM, people. Peace, love, and soul.
Peace.